Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Conversations with Nicole Show. I'm Nicole Huckabee. My guest today is Semeka Randall Lay, the 17th head coach of Winthrop University's women's basketball team. Semeka's basketball journey is nothing short of remarkable, from being a standout player at the University of Tennessee to being named to the 2024 American Basketball Hall of Fame. We delve into Semeka's inspiring career, and you'll see what makes her leadership at Winthrop so impactful. As you know, I am a graduate of Winthrop University, so this is an exciting day for me. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Conversations with Nicole Show. I am excited to have as my guest today Semeka Randall Lay. She is the 17th head women's basketball coach of Winthrop University. I'm so excited to have you on the show today, Semeka.
Nicole, thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to meet you and all the great things you've done. So kudos to you.
Well, it's great to be a Winthrop Eagle together. So this is exciting for me, and I appreciate you taking the time. You are doing a phenomenal job, and your career, your story is so inspiring. You've always been a great player. So walk me through your life, where you began, and how you got to where you are now.
Okay, I'll try to make it short, but give you all the good details. I
Good.
started playing basketball at the age of 6. There were some neighbors that lived across the street from me. They had 3 girls and 2 boys. Had a huge family. I would play with the girls, and we would do most typical girl things like play house, play with dolls. And to me, all that stuff was fun, but it was boring on certain days. And I would be enamored with all the guys in the backyard shooting hoops. And so one day I got up the courage to ask if I could participate, and they let me play in a game. Wasn't successful, but I absolutely enjoyed doing it. And so when they would like leave their house, I would literally be on the lookout, and I would sneak across the street, probably without telling my mom, and I would work on dribbling the basketball and shooting the ball in the hoop. And so I built up the courage and to really focus and try to figure out how to beat those guys. Never really probably at that age beat them, but I learned that what toughness was about. So I knew I had to be a great defender. So I would get knocked around, but I wouldn't let it like break my spirits and stuff like that. So fast forward, with their help, I ended up going to middle school. I never forget my middle school coach had open gym, and I showed up my first day eager to participate and try out for the team. And he was in awe of how good I was. Um, and so obviously I made the team. He even kicked me out. That's a story I could tell. Like I'm like, how do I get kicked out? I'm the best player on the team, but discipline was instilled in me at a very young age, and he wanted to teach me a lesson that I wasn't better than everybody and that I had to do all the things that were required for our team. So I remember getting kicked out, and like I've walked home several times, but I got a little lazy because I was used to after basketball practice going back with him and getting a ride from him, excuse me. And so I sat outside the gym door that day, just confused and like I couldn't believe he kicked me out of basketball practice. You kind of need me. And from that point forward, like I didn't even walk home that day. I sat there and waited for the team to be done. And then I went in and apologized to my coach and then asked for a ride home. So he actually gave me a ride home. So I was relieved by that. From that point on, my first middle school game, my there was a security guard, and my mom had picked me up, and he told my asked my mom like, "Hey, I'm not sure if you know how good your daughter is, but you should come and check her out." Well, my mom said, "All right, well, I'll come watch her play, but I don't know why she likes basketball. It's just not ladylike, and I just don't believe in that stuff." So she ends up coming to a game, and I was fired up. I was like, "Man, I'm going to show out for my mother. I cannot wait." My middle school coach pulled me aside, Mr. Wallace, and he was also my math teacher. And he said, "Listen, Semeka, relax, just have fun, and let the game come to you." Well, from the tip, They got the ball, and I was on the ball pressing. And I went and stole that ball, and I went and shot a layup, and I was excited, made the layup. My mom stands up in the crowd and says, Semeka, that is not ladylike. You do not take the ball from people. The security guard tugged at my mom's coat jacket, and he said, Miss Randall, that is the whole object of the game, to steal the ball and go score. And my mom was like, this game is stupid. Why would you play something like this? Tell she wasn't an athlete in her day. So anyway, fast forward, get to high school. I get pretty much recruited. I guess I could tell the story now that I'm removed, but recruited to one of the most dominant high school teams in the greater northern area of Cleveland, and I'm surrounded by all high level Division I players. My freshman year, we go down and win a state championship, and from there, I won 139 games, lost about 10 games.
Wow.
Get recruited by everybody in the country. But I probably should have told this when I was in 8th grade, going to the 9th grade. Pat Summitt came to watch one of my teammates, and she actually fell in love with me. And so that's when our probably relationship had started. And at that time, NCAA rules said that if you were, say, not as a senior or whatnot, you could call the coach, or the coach could call you. I had to call her at my and being going into 9th grade, so I would call Colette, and she could answer the phone. So I would say, and I'm probably being nice, I probably call Pat maybe 2 or 3 times a week, collect call. And it'd be funny because they'd be like, you have a collect call, Semeka. And Pat be like, Randall, what do you want? I was like, oh, I'm just calling to see how your day was. So our relationship had started then. And then when I got to my senior year, when everybody had offered me, I had to narrow my choices down because academically I was struggling. That transition from public school to private school was overwhelming to me a little bit. And so I had to focus on my studies. So I narrowed my list of schools down fairly quick. It was Tennessee, UConn, Virginia, North Carolina, and Penn State. Those
Wow.
are the
That's
5
a
schools.
list. Samika, that is an incredible list that you had to narrow it down to those. Not many people can say that. And before we keep going, you talked about Pat. You mentioned Pat. Just so my audience knows, you're talking about Pat Summitt, the great Pat Summitt of the University of Tennessee. So I just had to narrow it down to those. Unbelievable. Okay, keep going.
Thank you. Okay, yep. I'm sorry, Pat Summit. But so I before you were allowed to say go on these visits, because the NCAA rules allows us to go on 5 visits. My high school coach at that time, Pat Diulis, sat me aside and said, "Listen, you can't afford to go on all 5 of those schools if you plan on going to college." And so I had to narrow it down to 2. And so I went back and kind of like was going through this thing by myself because, like I said before, my mom, Bertha, at the time didn't know anything about basketball. So I've watched enough. And my middle school coach from my high school coach, I had extensive conversations along with my teammates about certain schools that I liked. And so all I know is I wanted to win a national championship. And I wanted the greater chances of winning a national championship. It was either choosing between Tennessee and UConn at that time. So I ended up going on both of those visits. Gino RM was a stickler. He's an Italian and he's super tough. But I loved his personality, and I always had played with guys, so I figured that I can handle this guy. I'm not scared of him. But I ended up choosing Tennessee in the long run, and it's probably one of the best decisions that I made in my life in terms of me being under Pat's tutelage and being pushed and challenged in areas. And obviously, there's a book called Raise the Roof. After we won that national championship my freshman year, there's a lot of things about me in that book of me being a brat. I must admit it. I was stubborn. But it was just kind of where I grew up. I was an inner city kid and raised by a single mother, and so all I knew or had in my I guess arsenal or in my bag was survival skills. And like my mom worked 2 jobs, so she was never really there. My neighborhood raised me, and my neighborhood was the best. Like if I had people in the house, I would get a phone call from a neighbor from across the street, and like literally, I didn't see anybody outside, but they'd be like, "Semeka, I know you have someone in the house," and I'm like, "How do they know that?" And they're like, "I'm gonna call your mother." So like literally, I'm kicking people out the house and stuff like that. So
They're
I'm
holding you
grateful.
accountable and looking out for you, sister.
Absolutely. I always say it's taken a village to truly raise me. So, all right, going back, Tennessee, my freshman year, I get on campus and I'm surrounded by um, 2 more All-Americans on our team. It's a total of 4 freshmen that ends up going to Tennessee. Mind you, Shamiqua Holsclaw, who is one of the prolific scorers and players at the University of Tennessee and went on to do great things, won an Olympic medal. She's on that team. Kelly Jolly Harper, who she just recently got let go at the University of Tennessee. She coached there. I just had great teammates. So um, Tennessee had just came off of winning a championship. So the pressure was on because at that time they had won back-to-back championships. And here come this freshman class, which we were the #1 freshman class walking in the door. What is Tennessee going to do?
Mm.
So exciting time for me was we were playing pickup. Shamiqua Holsclaw and Kelly Jolly decided to say, you know what, we're gonna organize the teams because at that time coaches can't come in the gym and give us instructions because it's technically out of season. So she organized a team. She basically put all the freshmen on a team and give us one post player, upperclassman. And then like all the players that won the state championship last year were on the other team. And we're like, oh, this is great. Let's go. We're playing those guys, and they had they beat us by 1 point, and us freshmen was like, oh no, let's play that back. Let's play that back. Quickly, Shamiqua and Kelly Jolly said, oh no, we're gonna mix the teams up. That's how much energy and that's how fearless as freshmen we were. We just wanted an opportunity to win a championship. So that leads me to my next thing. We went 39-0 my freshman year in college. Won a historical ride. Uh, we beat everybody. If you go back and look at the books, there might have been 2 games that we won the game by single digits. For all the games, we won by plus 30 plus points or so in every game. And even in our championship game, I think we won by 25, 30 points that game. So it wasn't even like your typical championship game. That's how dynamic that team was. We won my 4 years at Tennessee. I won 139 games, lost 9. I was 2-time Kodak All-American, 2-time the National Defensive Player of the Year, and I made all tournament teams throughout the tournament runs and stuff like that. So incredible career. And then it's time to get drafted. I was second round, first pick, went to the Seattle Storm, had a great season there, came back the following year. Oh, came back that following year, ended up getting traded, went to Utah, played at Utah. That team relocated, ended up going to San Antonio Silver Stars during that time because in the WNBA, it's only 4 seasons. I played overseas, so I lived in Israel. In fact, I left over to go to Israel right after September 11th,
Wow.
which was a very intense time, but a great growing moment for me of just kind of being very attentive of my surroundings and living there and knowing what you can and cannot do. My mom thought it was crazy as can I cuss?
Maybe not. How far you want to go with that?
Crazy as hell.
Crazy as hell is fine. Yes.
Yeah. She thought I was crazy as hell. I wasn't gonna say nothing too
Yeah.
graphic here, but she thought I was crazy as hell. She was like, "Why would you do this?" And as fearless as I am, I'm like, "Mom, you only live once, and who gets to see the world like this? Who gets the opportunity to go to the motherland or biblically where everything started and to like actually put your eyes on it. And I was like, I can't pass up this opportunity. I want to see it. I want to
Mhm.
know what Jerusalem looks like. I want to know what the Mediterranean Sea is. Like, I want to see those things. So I ended up doing it. And it's funny because I was supposed to leave 9/11. I actually left uh 9/16 because of all the stuff that happened. And in fact, I asked my agent to switch my ticket because I was supposed to fly from Cleveland, Ohio to Tel Aviv, or excuse me, New York to Tel Aviv.
Mhm.
So I ended up flying Cleveland to Toronto, Toronto to Tel Aviv, which put like 9 more hours on my flight. But I just wanted to make sure I got there in a safe manner. And
Mhm.
I went there, didn't speak Hebrew. I had an interpreter, and I learned how to survive. I Cool story is I wanted some fried chicken. I had to learn how to make my own chicken. So I went to the shook, and the chicken is like skin, like leaning like this. I picked my chicken out.
Oh gosh,
The butcher cuts the wings off,
no way.
pull the chicken gizzards out, and say, "Do you want this?" I go, "No, no, no, no." And so I take the wings back home, and they still have feathers on them. So I'm either plucking or I have a lighter. I'm burning the feathers off of it before I prepare, season it, flour it, and put it in the oil. I grew up as an individual
Yeah.
quickly there. I got an opportunity to celebrate Passover.
Yeah.
So many cool things that I can live to tell this story. But Greece was beautiful playing there. With my USA basketball, like I've traveled to China and not till Brazil and want to go medal for that. But I've lived so many really cool experience, and I apologize if I'm all over the place, but I do
No.
want to give you as
Yes.
much information and who I am. So after I do all of that, I decide, like, you know what? I know how this business of athletics work, especially professional. There's somebody who's going to be better than you. Somebody's always chasing you every year. And so I had signed a contract to go back to Israel to play my second time over there. But I received a phone call from one of my mentors, and he was actually one of my coaches at the University of Tennessee. Al Brown had told me about a job, and he was like, and this is like his second job, because the first job he mentioned was my Cleveland State. That was my first job. And I played and coached at the same time. But the second time, I literally had to quit playing basketball. So I retired, and he was like, "You should come to Michigan State for this job." And I'm like, "Michigan State? Who is Michigan State?" And he was like, "Well, Semeka, they're going to win national championship." And I was like, "Get out of here." I was like, maybe Tom Izzo on the men's side going to win a championship, but not the women. Well, that coach was kind of accurate. We played in the championship game my second year in coaching, and I'm an assistant coach. And one of the cool stories behind that is, to get to the championship game, we had to beat Tennessee in
Oh,
order to play in a championship. So I'm actually coaching against my coach. And one of the cool things, and I always say this, being a part of that experience was better than me winning a championship, because I got to watch student athletes who no one thought anything about and just said, "Oh, they're just Michigan State, or they're just this team, but the dominant people are going to win." I watched them do something that I've just never seen before, take out somebody. And that's what they did. And at one point in that game, we were down by 17 points. So I had told one of my assistant coaches, or excuse me, I told the other assistant, who happened to be my assistant coach, that I said, "Man, I think our season is over." And we had a great run. And I'm literally saying this in the middle of a game as we're playing. And the next thing you know, our group of young women just said, "No, we're not going to go out like this. We're going to band together." And they ended up being down from 17, win the game, and we're playing in a national championship game.
wow.
We end up losing that game, but that just showed me, if you believe, anything is possible. And it was one of the coolest moments. Because when you're at Tennessee, it's either win or bust. There's
Yeah.
no in between.
Well, the level's been set so high,
Yes.
you have to keep reaching that once you get to that level. And that is the challenge in coaching, I'm sure, especially you know, having to win a championship every year. That's a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you know what? That's in life. That's in corporate Americas that are trying to stay at the top, and
Mhm.
like you have to constantly keep reinventing yourself and how and try to figure out how you separate yourself within your company. Like I love this saying that Pat used to say to this all the time. You never arrive in the game, nor do you ever arrive in the game of life. And the moment you think you arrive, that's when things go different ways. And how are you going to rebound from that, or regroup yourself, or reset and get back to the top? And so um that- that's why that group was super unique, and that kind of started me getting the juices of like, I want to coach. I
Wow.
want to be able to build a team and motivate people to be able to do something that they're not supposed to do. Well, I leave Michigan State. I go to West Virginia as an assistant. And at 28, I get my first head coaching job at Ohio University. And I didn't realize that when you get a job, it's one of the most phenomenal things in the world. It's like uh, you feel like you've arrived, but you
Yeah.
haven't, because, again, my mentor, Al Brown, said, well, congratulations on getting a job. Good luck hiring people, and good luck finding the right people that fit. Well, I didn't really understand that at 28, and I was not successful. I got fired. When you're in athletics, you're hired to be fired. That's just the nature of the business. And like for me, it really hurt my ego because I didn't get that at, say, retiring from the WNBA. I got out before they fired me. So that
Mhm.
was a real, like, a scary
Yeah.
moment for me. Now I lost a lot in the WNBA, and it taught me some stuff, but never like saying, "Hey, Semeka, we really appreciate you, but we're going to move in a different direction."
Mhm.
So my instance is like, I want to be a head coach again, and I got fortunate. I got to become another head coach again at Alabama A&M. Now, different environment in terms of HBCU, wasn't prepared for it, didn't understand how different it is from, say, a predominantly white institution, if I say it
Sure.
correctly here. And so it was overwhelming for me. Uh, but I always respected uh, their tradition. And, a lot of people were for me, but there was a lot of people that weren't for me because I didn't get to didn't go to the A&M. So they oftentimes felt like, oh, I only came here just because I couldn't go back to PWI, for example. So you deal with those elements in the room. But I love those cats, and we didn't win a lot of games, and it was hard travel, and it was challenging in certain areas. But again, it was a great opportunity to connect with people. And as I'm learning more and more about myself in those situations that I don't think sometimes you often pay attention when you win. When you win and your coach is kind of telling you the things you need to fix, you're like, whatever, we won. That's all that matters. And
Right.
so you don't really hone on onto those skills that you need to correct yourself. And there's a lot of things that I needed to correct myself with. And it's funny because it was like Pat telling me this stuff all over again, but I didn't want to hear it because I always felt like, Coach, I beat you. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, it was hitting me in this true adult life. I had no control of it. And that's one thing as coaches, we don't have any control of it. We're relying on the people you hire around you, your administration, and your student athletes to help make you into something great, but you got to be able to lead them. And I probably wasn't the greatest leader at that time.
Right.
Um,
That's how
and
you
so
learn and grow. Those are the experiences that get you to where you are today. So
absolutely,
if you didn't learn from
absolutely,
them, then that would be the horror, and all of that. But you learn from it.
very, very true. So then I go, okay, maybe I need to hit the reset button. And it's funny, one of the presidents at my first head job said, maybe you need to do that. But I was like, no, you can't tell me that. So I got it on the second time. And so I went back and I was assistant coach at Wright State, Cincinnati, and then accidentally, and I always say this because this is part of my story. I went to go work for one of my really good friends, and she fired me. And
Ooh.
that was that hurt. Like, that's the only way I could describe it. but something maybe I needed. It was like putting me in timeout, and the way it was done like right before conference play. So I had to watch them on TV during that time. It wasn't like I could hurry back into being a coach somewhere else. I literally had to sit and like kind of work on me and go through a lot of like emotional changes. Thank God for my husband. Oh my God, he probably had to carry a lot of my emotional roller coaster. So I had to figure out myself. And then this job, Winthrop, was open. Well, I had already knew Coach Lynette Woodard. She's a great, like I look up to her because of all the things that she's done in the college game. This job was always, Lynette always said, "Oh, if you want to come here," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good." But I've always respected what Winthrop has done because I remember when they were successful, and the things they've done in that short span right there. So I was very much in tune and aware of Winthrop University, and it's funny because I didn't want to take this job, but it was my husband that pushed me because he said, "This is what you know and you love." And I was like, maybe coaching is not for me. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe the Lord needs to put me in somewhere else." And I'm like praying and trying to just hear the signs and wait for it. So I apply for everything up under the sun. And then one day I get the courage and I drive down here, and I didn't want Lynette to pay for anything. I just wanted to just kind of see things on my own to see if I could fit and I could make this work because the game, I felt like, and I say this sometimes during that time, I felt like the game wasn't loving me back the way I was loving it.
That's
And so I got down here and I said, "Okay, I'll do it." And the beautiful thing about my husband is the first time I left Alabama A&M and went to Wright State, like he quit his job and he was like, "We're all in." And it was a very scary moment for us. This time he sent me and said, "I'm going to stay at my job. I love you and we're okay. We can function in a
yeah.
distant relationship." And I'm like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" And like, I'm freaking out. He's like, "Oh, you'll be fine. You live enough life without me. We just met. You're good." And so I come down here and kind of a really weird time because it was right before COVID hit. I got down here 2019 and I didn't start when normal times like coaches typically start, say June, July. I actually started maybe 20 days before the season starts. So October.
Yeah.
And like the kids are like looking around, who the heck is this lady yelling at us? And Lynette's like, "Oh man, this is gonna be great." And so, long story short, she did win a lot of games, but unfortunately, administration wanted to go in a different direction, and we're going right into COVID. So, I received the news at home, and so I just knew I wasn't gonna get a job. And the reason why, typically, what happens in our world is like I've been a head coach, like no, like as an AD, how can I trust that she's going to get it right when she hasn't won games? And that's the object of this game. You have to win. So I kind of was feeling like I'm better start preparing and looking for another job, and because I don't really know if they want. Obviously, I said I wanted a job, but I don't even know if I wanted the job. I just said it because I need a job. And
Yeah.
so
It's what you knew, so why not, right?
right, right. But knowing in the back of the head, oh, they'll never
Yeah.
hire. And if you look at, because I want to give this story good, Lynette was kind of moved into that position as an assistant. I just didn't think they would do that again, move
Right.
an assistant coach into the same role. And because you may feel like you're going to get the same results.
Right.
So, uh, God knows what the plan is, and we just got to trust Him.
That's
I
right.
ended up getting a job as the interim head coach in the middle of COVID. I do a great job in terms of no one got COVID. We had a little bit of,
That's a
I was,
win. That's a
yeah,
win.
that is a win. I was able to be accountable for all our student athletes. One thing, as hard as it was, you could see a little bit of me trying to put some discipline back into this program. The program had been stagnant for quite some time, and it's just the order wasn't right, and so they let me have it. And then the next thing you know, uh, they ended up giving me the job, and it was because a lot of things were going on, I would say, to make it easier to move on. And so I ended up getting it. And I don't, last year was the end of my contract, and I just felt like I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna give it my best shot. And it was one of our best seasons in the decade. We won
Mhm.
14 games, and I'm proud of the athletes because I've had to fight a lot in a good way to try to help turn this program. Typically, some universities allow you to move players on. Then there's programs that want to keep athletes on, and I don't know if I should even be saying this stuff, but we stay with those student athletes. And I know I probably wasn't all the time their favorite because I had a job to do, and it was a very tough job. There were days where I felt vulnerable, and that's kind of what leadership is. You feel vulnerable at days where you feel like you're doing the right thing, but as a student athlete, they can't see that because it's about them. And I have to remind myself that's how I was as a student athlete when Pat was trying to get me to understand how to be a better teammate, a better player for my teammates. And I didn't. All I cared about was myself. How come I'm not playing? How come I'm not getting this? Like, you don't understand me. And so those moments, I did feel that energy. But again, by the grace of God, I got the right athletes in who fit me because I'm fiery, as you can tell,
Love it.
and very passionate.
Yeah.
And my husband has always challenged me on this. I need to allow people in to know my heart. But it all goes back to kind of how I was raised. Inner city kid who was just trying to survive and didn't understand those skills that it is okay to be vulnerable and
Mhm.
it's okay to not know everything. And I've had to grow, and I'm thankful for Winthrop University for staying with me and
Yeah.
being patient.
Yeah.
And that's how I get emotional about that because I'm getting another chance at something I love, and it extended my stay here, and they didn't have to do that. And so everything that I do, I want to give it my all in all, and that's the way I am.
If I could play basketball, I would want to play for you
Thank
because
you.
you're incredible. Your story is incredible. I just had so many things going through my head as I listened to how you grew up, how you maintained fighting for the positions, fighting to win, fighting to get better, dealing with the losses, dealing with the things that didn't go your way, but never giving up even when you were scared. And I think we all can relate to that, Semeka. We've all had things in our life that didn't go as planned and made us think twice about our path, get down on our knees and pray. But in your heart, you had this burning desire to still be involved in basketball. And it's just kept leading you back to that because you've probably been open to it even when you were scared to be open to it. And here you are doing amazing things at Winthrop. So here you are at Winthrop in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Talk about women's basketball as a whole. We've seen it's finally getting the attention that it deserves. Still not as much, but it's starting to get there because of Dawn Staley from USC, what she's done. And certainly as a South Carolina native, couldn't be happier to see women's basketball getting attention. Caitlin Clark, things like that. How does that make you feel? And are you happy and thankful for the changes, even though they took a long time?
I am. Um, so I should have said this before. The reason why I got in this game is because so many people poured in me, and I want to do the same thing to pour back. And so I've done my part, and I'm looking at the fruits of that labor right now. Because we could talk about when I got drafted in the league, I made $38,000.
Ugh,
Okay. And I always have to remind people it is for 4 months. Like it's not like it's and I'm happy to see the salaries where they are. I love to see that women are just winning.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we just been so looked over, and it's been about a male driven dominant world that women can do the job. And I said this, and it's so funny. It's crazy, like the timing of this. Yesterday, my husband, he's a golf pro at Providence Country Club, and two former NBA players wanted to get in and play because they're planning a celebrity golf event happening today. Those guys come up to me because they're like, my husband obviously say, well, I'm married to Semeka. And they're like, oh, she's got to come out to the course. So I come out, and they're like, me, I just love what women's basketball at. It's 10 times better than the men's game right now. He's like, they play fundamentally sound and they play together. Right now I'm like really disappointed in my own game because I mean referring to the men's game, because it's so about the individual and it's not about the team. And that's what's been great about the game, to hear men and like these guys. Like I was fangirling, like I'm not gonna even tell a fib, like I didn't even ask to take a picture, but one of them did give me their cell phone number, and I was like, Matt, I love you so much, but oh my god, I cannot believe they gave me their number. And they're like, call me if you need anything. And it's just to see the love that's coming back to the women for their play. I hate that we're kind of in this weird world that racism has never existed in sports, and like we have that currently right now. So that bothers me, because it should be about how, well, sports are what taught me, or basketball is coming together. I just think about my teammates over in Israel. I played with a Russian teammate, I played with a Turkish teammate, and me as an American, and then those locals who were, Israeli. We all had one common goal in mind, and that was to try to win a basketball game. And so now that we get these new fans, yes, together, we got these new fans, and they're only thinking about just one thing. That just bothers me, because that's the place where you don't have to worry about black, white, Asian, Mexican. You don't have to worry about those things. It's just about how can we do something together to achieve the goal together, to win and be successful at it. But when we can get past that, because I just feel like, and no offense when I say this, which I just feel like men are now just want to talk about it because they want to feel like they know the sport, but they don't know it. And it's just like any other sport. It's just about winning. Are you good, or you're not good? Like, bottom line. But I love the fact that the women are winning. I love that the salaries increasing because they deserve it. I love the fact that the ratings are like off the roof. I love the fact that like even they thought that when Caitlin Clark lost, the ratings would drop off. The ratings are thriving. I don't know if you watched the games last night. The games were incredible. Like they are so incredible right now. I love people like this. Mark Davis. I'm part affiliated with the Las Vegas Aces organization, and he flies all former players out with a 4+1. He puts us up. He wines and dines us. 2 years ago, he gave us a replica of the championship ring as a pendant. This past season, they gave us a Letterman jacket, which had the on the one sleeve, the Utah Stars, where their organization started first, to the San Antonio Silver Stars, and then where the relocation of the Las Vegas Aces. He makes us feel appreciative for all the hard work and that we've poured into the game. We need more males out here that see that, and I think that's happened with the Phoenix Mercury during their practice facility and turning it around. Like, our game is good. I just think it's really cool that even now on ESPN, I've never heard about women's sports being talked about, and that's across the border. That's tennis. that's soccer, but really women's basketball. I mean, they are having conversations, and I know with the Aces getting upset or getting swept for the first time in the WNBA playoffs, it's like, okay, who's going to be the winner now? And that people actually are knowing these ladies' names, correct, saying it correctly,
Yeah.
and then talking about their game and like going more into details. Because even though when I was winning championship, when I won a championship back in '98, guys didn't really know unless you really truly were paying attention. But we were the only team. Now you're learning about multiple teams. So that's how Iowa was good. Like now we know about the Juju Watson over at USC that's coming up, or Malaysia, or Flage down at LSU. There are more women uh, that are just really talented. I mean, these young ladies, they're phenomenal talents.
It just takes time. It's really, if you think about it and you go back to what your mother said, girls don't play basketball. Think of just the change from your mom's mentality to where you are today, and the recognition that you're getting. So I have to ask, is your mom still alive?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Okay.
So what does your mom think of Semeka today?
She's proud. She's absolutely proud, and I'm her baby. You know, my sister passed away, and so
Okay.
I'm her only thing, and I know she lives a lot through me, and she's proud of me. Just recently, I just got inducted into the American Basketball Hall of Fame, and I always like I'm definitely happy I received it, but that was a moment for me to thank my mom for not pushing my dream aside and making me do something that I didn't want to do, but for eventually encouraging me to thrive more in it, to a point where she went from not knowing the sport to on the championship game calling me and saying, hey, listen, you got to go out there and leave everything on the floor. You tell your teammates to be locked in. If it takes 40 minutes or if it takes longer, you guys get the job done, and you need to finish them layups and make those free throws. And I go, wow, she knew nothing about that before.
Yeah,
And
before she said you weren't supposed to steal the ball. That was rude. And now she's telling you all the things you've got to do to win.
right. Even with LeBron coming from our area, she think LeBron James and her are really good friends because he got to play hard. He need to win some games for us at the time when he was in Cleveland. So it has been a real treat to watch people who who knew nothing about it now get excited about the women's game the way it is right now, and it's thriving, and this is momentum that we definitely need to take advantage of. And I think the women that are currently doing that now are definitely moving in the right direction.
Well, you are just a real treasure to talk to and to hear your amazing story. And Winthrop is so blessed and fortunate to have you leading the women's team. So,
Thank you.
what does this year look like for the Winthrop Lady Eagles?
Yeah, I'm excited. I want us to continue to keep building in a positive direction, and obviously that results into winning. But what I love about these student athletes that I get to coach every day, I feel like they're believing in what we're trying to do here, or believing, I would say, in what I want to see them achieve. Because it's really not about me. It's really about those student athletes and Winthrop getting back. And if I happen to be a part of this journey, it is amazing. I'm really literally here to serve.
Mm. Samika, that is good stuff. We could talk for hours and hours, but I want to thank you for your time. People can go to winthropeagles.com to get tickets, I believe.
That is correct. Please, we got to get people back involved in supporting this program, supporting these student athletes. We need it.
Yeah. Well, success is in your hands. I know you've got it. You're just an amazing individual. Your stories are phenomenal. Uh just so much to be thankful for at the university, that you're there leading these women, and that you are such a positive influence on all of those on campus and all of those outside of campus like me, who are now inspired by your story and your life that you have lived and are continuing to live, because you're just getting better every year because of all the experiences that you've had and that you're able to share with the student athletes. Thank you so much for being my guest.
Nicole, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Yes, and that will do it for this edition of Conversations with Nicole. Until I see you again, I hope you have a great day. Go Eagles!
Go Eagles!